What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, and Matthew Spawnhour and Theo Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today as we go over days 1, 2, and 3 of the NFL Combine, along with, as we're recording this episode, the cornerback drills are going on, so we will make sure to touch on those as well. Apparently, Matt got in a TikTok fight, so we'll talk about that.
Someone just responded to my video, and I got
Matt is the most... Matt is, I think, gets the least amount of hate on TikTok between the three of us. He just posts very base takes.
Blaiden, what do you get hate over? You know what? I'm sorry. Like, I didn't make the 0-16 Saints take. I didn't get hate for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. You also didn't say lemon ice cream is top 3.
Yeah.
Didn't get hate for that.
That one maybe.
I got the craziest hate message I've ever got in my life the other day. From our good friend, I think he's messaged all three of us.
Oh, the fantasy football consultant guy.
He sent me a picture of my grandpa's fiance that I had posted, and was like, just a picture of her. Yo, and he was like, imagine next time you get a take wrong, she's gone from your life. I was like, what? What? Dude,
I feel like that's a crime.
It might be. I think that was a crazy moment. I've never gotten anything like that.
Yo, what the?
But
he called me a token hire.
Yeah, he's said a lot of. He's called me a maggot, and he's called me a lot of different things. Although I told,
so shout out to him.
Shout out him. Yeah, anytime I say anything he doesn't like, he's always in the DMs and saying I've never been a GM, and so I don't know why. I'm like, I'm 21, dude. I told him the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl weeks ago, and he won't acknowledge I was right on that. But
it'll be really unfortunate for him when I own the Browns and I hire Theo as my GM.
It would really be tough.
And Matt is my VP.
Anyway, yeah, that was crazy. I also went to the Grand Canyon yesterday, and it was foggy. It was snowy and foggy, and I could not see the canyon. I just was looking out into this like abyss of like fog, and I was like, okay.
Looks like Theo had a great day. I also had a pretty good day yesterday. I finished my album.
Oh,
and got a new car.
I'm looking forward.
Wow, new album and new car, big time.
New album, new whip. Got the new paper tag.
What new car did you get?
It's a 2010 Lexus. Cool. It takes premium gas, so that's
an L. That's currently an
expensive.
L, but
yeah.
I'm one of those guys who never knows what gas costs. I've never looked. I've never paid attention because it's like what am I going to do? What am I going to do about it?
Yeah. I didn't care until I pulled up to get gas and it was $4.70.
Is that bad?
And I was like, it's pretty bad for Ohio.
Yeah, it's probably
like normally
bad.
it was over $1 more than what I usually got with regulars. So I was not happy with
Joe Biden better stop pressing that raise. He better stop pressing the raise the gas button, raise the gas prices button right now. He's been jamming that one. He's got to.
I'd lower the gas.
If I was him, I would just lower it. Why hasn't he thought of this? Anyway.
All right. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. No birthdays today, but I did get a new car, and my new car would appreciate it if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's just hop into the Combine. We can sit here and banter for another 5 million years if you would like. There is some speculation that the Combine is juiced.
There's just a little look. I sent in our text group chat that it was fraudulent. Maybe that's the wrong word for it, but there are a few. It's been a little weird. It's like all the times are so good, and it's not like I can sit here and tell you this guy actually didn't run really fast. He didn't lift so much. But what do you think the reason for it? Like is it really just that athletic of a class?
We have not seen a combine like this since 2003. I think was the last time we saw one.
It's because of this. No one is running their agility drills.
That's what I thought it was.
No one is doing agility drills.
Yeah, and I think no one did the 3-cone of the receivers, right? Or was it the running back? Something like that. Yeah,
no one is doing 3-cone. No one's doing shuttle. And I think people are just, because if you look at like 5 years ago, how many people ran a sub? I can't remember the exact number. Like 3-cone. It was like 20 something, and now it's like 7. So there's less and less people, practicing these agility drills and more people practicing these 40 times. So I think it's just how they're distributing their training.
That's what I was thinking.
And
but you can't sit back and say like, oh, that doesn't count then. It does. But it's different to be able to put it all together in the same day rather than like one time you're going to do this, one time you're going to do that. And then be able to focus on different things. Because I'm sure they're all going to start training right now for their pro day to run the 3-cone.
Yeah, which is not a bad idea, It's just what it is.
But it just means it's a little bit different than how it's been before.
Yes.
So,
right. Yeah, I don't know. When you can post these, pretty much flawless times. I mean, what is it? Amare Barno went 4.36 at edge. And we were talking about the Cincinnati edge that might be a little bit undersized.
A little. You want to talk about
a little bit undersized for an undersized guy. Yeah.
But to run 4.36, the first thing I went and looked at was like, all right, how much does this guy weigh? He's like almost 250. He's 6'5", 246.
Yeah, definitely undersized for an edge rusher, but that's a blazing time. You could do something horrible like what Myjai Sanders did. Show up at 220 and then run a 4.72.
I don't know what. Something is obviously going on. He did not. I can tell you for a fact he did not play at 228 for Cincinnati. There is no way. And he dropped 14 pounds since the Senior Bowl. And I saw maybe it was Matt Miller or Brett Coleman tweeted out like, "Is this guy sick? Is he sick?" And then I saw some report that he's been sick, but I don't. Wouldn't you not run? Maybe he got bad advice from the agent. Maybe he's like, he really wants to go. And overall, I mean, his RAS score was like pretty good because it didn't take into account his weight all that much. So he tested pretty decently at everything. But showing up at 228,
it's undraftable. You cannot draft a 228-pound edge rusher. And honestly, I thought he looked small on tape. I think I texted you guys that he has like a DB body type.
Yeah.
Which is what I saw on film. He just is a little bit small, doesn't have a great anchor. But when I looked up and saw that Cincinnati listed him at 255, I was like, oh, I would have thought he's a little bit smaller than that. But to be 220 is just ridiculous. So right now, he's probably the biggest loser from the combine. I think we'll go day 1, day 2, day 3. But he was someone that, just really stood out as like, holy cow, that was weird. But day 1 of the combine was quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. And let's just talk about Desmond. Why not just talk? Let's just talk
about Ritter's got to be the biggest winner, right?
Let's just talk about Desmond Ridder. He's not the biggest winner, but
he's a winner.
One of them.
That's the thing about Desmond.
He just wins.
I mean, he sub 4.5 40 time is crazy.
It's the fastest of any active quarterback right now.
Well, the official was 4.52.
Still, I think that might still be the fastest of any official quarterback at the combine. And
this is 4.49 to me.
It's 4.49 in my book. Obviously, this is sort of Mickey Mouse because Lamar Jackson didn't run the 40 at the combine, and Kyler Murray didn't run the 40 at the combine, and Justin Fields didn't run the 40 at the combine. But of all the active,
he is a good athlete. He is a really good athlete. And he did well on a lot of the other drills, like his broad jump was super good.
The second best in the history of a quarterback. 10 feet, 7 inches, really good vertical.
He's a great athlete, and I think he got. I think it shows up on film. But if it hasn't for you, he definitely proved something here a little bit with doing really strong at a lot of different events. Plus, he had big hand measurements, which I know is a big deal.
Unlike someone's future quarterback did not have.
I think it does, like with the hand size thing with Pickett. I think it does matter. It does. It's not the end of like days or anything, but you would want to have bigger hands, so it's bad to have small hands.
I have small hands. All right. I am 6'4", but my hands are small. It brings me great shame.
What do your hands measure in at?
Like 8 1/4. They're not small. They're not big. Oh, okay. All right. If my hands were bigger, I would be a better, like I could dunk a basketball better. Like I can dunk, like
you'd be a quarterback in the NFL.
I can dunk a small basketball, or at least I haven't tried in a long time. So maybe I can't anymore because I've just been sitting around being a podcaster. But like this summer, I could dunk a smaller basketball. But like a bigger one, it starts to like slip out of my hands on like the cockback. It's just harder with smaller hands to do stuff like that. And it's harder to grip a football. So it is better to have bigger hands. He did fumble a lot in college. That's why he wears the 2 gloves, and that helps his grip. So I don't think it's like again, it's not the end of days, but it does matter a little bit. But he had a good combine. He ran fast, had, good jumping numbers. So Pickett wasn't a combine loser per se, but the hand size is a little bit concerning. But yeah, Ritter rushed for like over 500 yards basically every year of college or close to it.
Yeah, no, he's definitely more mobile.
No one acts like he's a mobile quarterback. It's weird.
But he is.
He is a mobile quarterback.
He just...
I personally witnessed him score a 91-yard rushing touchdown. I know I saw that with my own 2 eyes.
Facts. No, I've seen him hurdle a dude one time. He's sick. I think he kind of just has there's some guys who just look a little bit slower running because of like stride length. Or there's we talked about this last episode. Sometimes how fast you look and how fast you are 2 different things. I think Ritter just maybe looks a hair slower. I think he's more of a strider than he is.
I think had we had this class a decade ago, Desmond Ritter not being perceived as a super mobile quarterback would have been a plus. And this is maybe it hurts him, but I don't think it really hurts him that much. But I do think it could have been a plus at one point where it's like, when people like weren't super high on the mobile quarterback thing yet. Like pre-Lamar Jackson, pre-Russell Wilson.
He exists in a weird range where he's not, you can't totally put him in a box of like, he's this electric athlete, or you can't put him in a box where he's like this great pocket passer because he's not.
Because he's the best.
But he's a good mix of both. So Ritter's a winner. I thought a loser was Howell, like on the throwing drills. I thought that he looked a little bit rough. He was on that deep posts. He threw both of them out of bounds he was competing with like Dustin Crum and De'Aaron King, who's like a wide receiver prospect at this point. And like, he still was missing throws that they were hitting. I thought like there was an out route that he threw in the dirt. Not that like throwing on air is like a combine for quarterbacks is not the most important thing in the world. But if you had to label a loser of the quarterbacks, I think it's Howell.
Listen, you cannot go into a combine and decide that you're not going to do the 40, not going to bench or do any of that stuff, and then post a horrible showing throwing on air.
It wasn't horrible. Like he hit some nice throws, but it wasn't like, there was like definitely like, he missed that one. And I didn't really notice that as much with the other guys.
That's honestly, I would say if you're not perfect on air and you go out and you don't do anything else, that's a bad day.
Yeah. It was not a great combine for him. As for the wide receivers, I thought a bunch of guys, I think like 9 ran sub 4.4s, which is stupid. Calvin Austin was a guy who crushed every athletic testing. I believe he did run agility drills.
He did everything.
Yeah, and he did really good on everything. Crazy broad jump for
11.3.
Yeah, for a shorter guy. Some people were like galaxy braining his 40 time and were like pausing it to try to prove that he ran like a 4.03, which I made a video about. That was dumb, but he was really fast, a 4.32, great across the board. He's a smaller dude, so he needs to be a ridiculous athlete, and he was. Christian Watson, to me, was the biggest winner to be 6'4" and 208 pounds and run in the 4.3s.
Yeah, 4.36.
Yeah, great catch radius, amazing athlete. Jumped out of the building as well on the broad jump. So he's someone that I think is going to go in the first round for sure. If you're talking about someone
NDSU, man.
Yeah,
NDSU.
Yeah. So
yeah, we know about those guys.
I've definitely seen some of the first round hype for him.
I think it's legit too. I think it's legit too.
I think it's pretty legit.
You had a great day at the Senior Bowl as well. I know Kenny Pickett underthrew him in the game, I think, and he went way low to make that catch and then popped up and took it another 10 or 20 yards. So he's big time.
I think the people missing on DK Metcalf is still fresh in people's mind when it comes to these super athletic receivers, because he didn't go till late second. I forget exactly the pick, and he was someone where it's like, well, he just did good at the combine. It's not. Don't overreact. No.
Well, his combine also was he did a bad 3 cone. That was his bad thing. So people are like, oh, well, he's really fast in a straight line, but he can't
But that's
why no one does the 3 cone anymore, probably, is because DK Metcalf is DK Metcalf and Phil.
You have so little to gain off the 3 cone, because DK Metcalf's game is not the agility going to beat you route running style. So some receivers, it's more important. If a guy like Justin Jefferson ran a terrible 3 cone or something, you'd maybe be a little bit more concerned because you want him, really strong route runner or whatever. A guy like DK Metcalf who's going to just go run by people and jump over them and just be, strong and just work on a few different routes. It's not that big a deal. Same thing. Mike Evans, Des Bryant, both those guys also bigger dudes. And I feel like they had weaker 3 cones. Maybe I'm wrong about Evans, but I feel like Des did.
Right. I think other winners, Sky Moore is a guy who ran sub 4.4, which was, I think, a little bit surprising for him. Obviously, Chris Olave's 40 time got a lot of, especially in our circles, was a very talked about thing when even I was, when that number came back as 4.26, even I was like, oh my God, he's fast.
That's what I was thinking.
4.6 fast,
but that's faster than Tyreek Hill, and that's faster than Jalen Waddle, and faster than just about
Jakeem Grant,
everybody in the history of the combine fast. And so obviously, I think that we would be remiss not to talk about Fantasy Football AZ's reaction to this, because I thought it was quite a funny little thing that was happening in the TikTok
I've never
circles.
seen someone take a victory lap over a 4.39.
But the tweet that was why was he afraid to run the 40, even though, because he didn't realize that there were 2 wide receiver groups running, they did it alphabetical order and they didn't all go at once. And then for that number to come back as a 4.26 and his immediate backpedal, and then his redemption when it was corrected to a 4.39, which, if you would have told me before the combine and you take out the 4.26, that it just he runs a sub 4.4, 4.39. Perfect. Great.
That's all. Yeah. That's all you needed.
That is,
because it went from, oh my God, he is the fastest person on the earth to actually he's just barely even not in the 4.4s.
It's only the 94th percentile. It made it seem like
he's slow now.
He's just average speed, but he's not. Running a sub 4.4 is still a ridiculously fast time. So I thought that whole,
even if
debacle,
7 other guys did it,
right. So that was
he's only a 100th of a second slower than Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think that he helped his stock with that time, because his time shows that on film. He is clearly someone who gets open deep with his speed. So the fact that he ran a 4.39 isn't something that boosts his stock, because you'd just be you'd be double counting.
It's more just confirmation.
There were more questions about Wilson's long speed. I saw some people say, he's going to run in the 4.5s for his 40. So I would say that him pulling off the sub 4.4 is probably a bigger deal to the draft stock.
Traylon Burks is a guy who did run in the 4.5s, a 4.55, which a lot of people were disappointed about. And it's hard not to label him a combine loser because of all these guys who just were running these crazy fast times. He was the guy who wasn't, right? And that was supposed to be something where maybe he was supposed to be better at than something like a 3 cone or a shuttle. And so the fact that he wasn't a super explosive jumper and he wasn't didn't run a really great 40 times, it's tough to label him anything but a combine loser. But I'm not super concerned about it, just because it's clear on film that he's running away from people, put the pads on, and he's a speedy guy out there. So I'm not a Burks wide receiver 1 guy, but I do think he's worth a pick in the middle of the first round, and I felt that way before, and I feel that same way now. David Bell is probably the biggest loser. He has
his RAS score was 3 something. It's just, and it's tough because it's such a talented receiver group, and you can still get away with doing some of the other stuff right, but I was seeing him even getting mocked a few times in the first. And I have a hard time believing that happens now. Yeah.
Jelani Woods, the last thing about day 1 is Jelani Woods was the tight end, 6'7", ran a high 4.6, I believe.
4.61.
4.61. He looked good on the field drills. Like when he was going at that blocking sled, he had good technique, which a lot of the tight ends didn't. They popped up too high. So looked good blocking. Crushed the combine was Jelani Woods out of Virginia. So Blaiden, I know you're a good big Traylon Burks fan. What was your takeaway on his combine performance?
Yeah, I was a little worried about his draft stock just because 4.55. You mentioned on film he looks faster than that. Like there's the game against Alabama that I always reference where he pretty much keeps them in that game by himself. There's a play where ball is slightly underthrown. He has to adjust to it, stops on a dime, catches it, and then runs away from 3 Alabama defenders that are all ahead of him. I don't know if any other receiver other than maybe Jameson Williams is doing that as far as running away from guys, but no other receiver is able to do both of those things, being able to stop, make that catch, and then also run away. I think Burks is the only guy that can do that. He's my wide receiver 3. I still think he's tier 1, but I love Wilson. I love London. But Burks' skill set is phenomenal, and I'm not worried about a 4.55, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone was like, "Ooh."
Yeah, he did a good job in the field drills as well. Ran that gauntlet on a real straight line, really natural hands catcher. He had to adjust to one throw one of the quarterbacks made that was like low and a little bit behind him, and he was able to do that in the field drill. So Burks, definitely a combine loser, but still not something that I think will have a major effect.
I think the overall message is like, you can be a combine loser and it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. And it's not like his RAS or his athleticism was
bad,
horrible. Like he's still like a decent athlete, but you kind of expected him. You'd like to be closer to like the DK Metcalf tier of combine or 40 time and like AJ Brown put up like very similar numbers and Deebo Samuel put up very similar numbers. So that's why I'm not concerned. So,
but did those guys go in the first round?
No, they did not. They went in the second round, but yeah.
That, that San Diego State punter?
Yes.
4.27 or 4.72. 4.72.
Yeah.
Oh,
did you see him warm up?
Yeah.
And
dude, he's a weapon.
He's worth it.
Where would you pick him?
I would pick him on day 2. I would pick him on day 2. Round 3, maybe. You can get someone who flips the field like that. It's valuable, man. It's valuable. If you're going to take the best player, a generational prospect at his position, let's not forget, if I were to, I probably won't, I don't know if I'll give him a grade, but if I do, he'd probably be like the number 2 player in my class behind Hamilton, or maybe the number 1 in front of Hamilton if he's that good as a punter.
Dude, that would be so funny if you made a video.
I'm not even kidding. And it's not even it's not even like a hot take. Like he is a generational punter prospect. He might be on a big board. I don't take positional value into account, just how good they are at their position. Punt God is number 1, really, or number 2.
Punt God.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's crazy. So I'd take him on probably round 2 or 3, honestly. Someone who could flip the field like that, it's valuable, man. It's valuable.
Second round pick on a punter.
Second round is maybe a little high. Third round, I'm down to take him in the third.
I feel great about him.
I'm probably not taking him before the 4th.
I think someone's going to do it. I think someone's going to take him.
I think so too. I don't think it's a bad move.
Let's talk about team fits for a generational punter.
He's a system punter. Yeah.
Why do we not? Okay, we have t-shirts for Cooper Clutch, but we don't have shirts for system punter.
Pat McAfee would kill us. Nah, we can get those done. I don't know what the market for those is.
Pat McAfee would kill us.
Anyway, that's day 1.
Pat McAfee. It's cool.
I think we go to day 2 now, which was running backs and offensive linemen. My big takeaway is Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker. They act like 2 legends cannot coexist. I have a very slight edge on Kenneth Walker. Maybe I don't. I have them with literally the same. I only go to 1 decimal point, and they both have 7.4s for me right now. I think they are both absolutely fantastic running back prospects, and I like them better than last year's top 2, which was Etienne and Najee Harris. I think that both of them possess fantastic vision. Both of them possess home run speed. Both of them possess really good agility and contact balance and can make anybody miss in the open field. And yeah, they have good ball security. They've been insanely productive. And yeah, their only problem is I don't think either of them are great blockers, but we
were talking about this the other day.
You can work with that. I
don't care.
Give with the ball in their hands,
don't care.
With the ball in their hands, they don't have a weakness. They don't. And they are top 15 players in this class overall for me. And they are and they blew up the combine. Breece Hall had one of the best combines of any running back ever. Kenneth Walker ran a
40-inch vertical.
Yeah, ran a 4.38 or whatever he ran.
Dude,
they are them. They are them.
I've watched a decent amount of both of them, probably more Walker, and I like Hall a lot. And it kind of depends on what you want. They're not quite the same. They're a little different, but Kenneth Walker in that Michigan game, man, something else. The long speed and the quickness behind the line is ridiculous. He's
the Miami game. He broke tackles on like 50% of like attempts. Like 50% of tackle attempts on him like missed in that Miami game or something. He's him. Okay,
yeah,
those two.
All you have to say is okay. Breaks a ton of tackles. Ran under a 4.4
with good vision. With good vision. What is the problem here? I don't know. I do not know. It's blocking. Blocking is the problem. I don't disagree with you. I wonder if the hype that Harris and Etienne got last year versus the hype that Hall and Walker are getting this year has anything to do with where they played. And it's it's Bama and Clemson guys versus. They're also like well-rounded. I don't think Najee, I've talked a lot about Najee this week. I don't think Najee is super talented with the ball in his hands. I don't think he's got the home run speed. I don't think he's got elite vision. So it's just tough for him to break a lot of long runs with his athletic profile. And that doesn't mean he's not useful, because he can catch the ball and he can block. And he's well-rounded. He's really well-rounded.
I was a big Najee fan last year. That was the thing I really liked, was he could just do everything.
He could do everything, and he still can do everything. He still can do everything. So it's not like he's like a bad running back, but these two just are more explosive with the ball in their hands. They're less well-rounded, and I feel like that's where kind of the hype on both Etienne and Najee came from, is what they could do receiving the ball, which you didn't really see from Harris. But you saw it from Breece Hall. And Walker wasn't really asked to do it a whole lot, but I think he has decent hands. But I mean, Hall caught a lot of passes in college. So I think that those two were big winners. Kyron Williams ran like a 4.7 out of Notre Dame as a running back.
Didn't that happen to Foreman, who's for the Titans now and is actually pretty decent? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Maybe a different Texas running back. I remember this. Running a 4.7 as a running back is close to a death sentence. That one does matter. I
think running a 4.7 at receiver would also be kind of a death sentence. Or at DB.
Jerry Rice run a 4.7?
No, he ran faster than that. People think it's a 4.7. I think it was actually in the 4.5s. I think that's a myth.
What about Jarvis Landry, Blaiden?
I think he did run in the 4.7s.
Doesn't matter. Best Browns receiver. Well, second best behind Donovan Peoples-Jones.
As far as the offensive tackles go, I think a loser was Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. He's someone who did do the agility times and had like a 4th percentile time. He ran it in 5.12 seconds. And that is, if you run a really good one, like a sub 4. I can't remember the exact number, but running an elite 3-cone has a pretty high hit rate for offensive tackles, and Kenyon Green ran a really bad one. And the combine is what we have to talk about right now, but again, I still have a first round grade on Kenyon Green. So how much, he's a loser, but doesn't really matter.
I don't know. I feel like you're like, okay, you can miss in some areas if you like shine in others, but then he's like almost dead last in bench among the offensive linemen.
Yeah.
He had 20 reps, where you see a guy like Zion Johnson who had 32 reps on the bench press.
And if you felt similar about those two prospects, and I think a lot of people did, it probably just like maybe cements Zion Johnson above Kenyon Green. And that's how it goes. And it's like, it doesn't drop Kenyon Green below guys who aren't, in that conversation. But like, if there are guys in that tier, that's what it drops Kenyon Green below. And I think Kenyon Green has good film. I think he's got a good lower body. And once he kind of sets that anchor, it's difficult to move him. I think he gets off the ball quickly. So he's got good technical skill. And honestly, I didn't notice like problems in his agility when I watched him on tape. When he was dealing with stunts, he did a good job kind of getting his feet out and working that. So again, if I didn't notice it on tape and it was a thing at the combine, I'm not too concerned about it, but he's definitely someone from the offensive line group that was a loser. But there were a lot of winners. This was a really athletic offensive tackle group as well. Also the fastest in combine history with the 40 times. So Bernard Raymond, I think his name is, and Trevor Penning, Charles Cross had a really good day. Ike Ekwonu.
Ike
So
Ekwonu was moving.
Yeah.
Moving.
Any thoughts on the tackle class? I didn't really watch the day. I thought that was kind of boring.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I will say I saw some pictures of Evan Neal. That guy is the slimmest 330-pound guy I have ever seen.
Okay, isn't Evan Neal like... How tall is he, though?
He's 6'7". So that's part of it. But still, dude, he's still...
I wish he tested. His pro day numbers are going to be silly. They are going to be ridiculous. They are going to be a circus. That's how silly they're going to be.
Speaking of...
Yeah.
Oh, no, I agree. But speaking of SEC linemen who had silly numbers, I think the big number one winner is probably Jordan Davis of the combine because he did everything. And
he tested as one of the best defensive players in the history of the combine athletically. To do what he did at 350 pounds is hilarious.
he got a perfect RAS.
Yes, perfect. Like, you cannot expect anyone to do more. Like, that 40 time at that size and the broad jump and the vertical and everything. He went crazy. He went stupid. I have always been a big Jordan Davis fan. I think that he is a run defense in and of itself. Yeah. He just will put him out there and your run defense is all of a sudden magically good. And that is, even if it only happens for 2 out of 3 snaps in a first down cycle or 70% of snaps in a game or 60% of snaps in a game, damn, that's good.
You can work with that.
You can work with that.
I think he's a first round pick. I don't care. Same thing with give me the really good players who are super crazy. I don't care about positional value.
I can condition him. I can work on conditioning. Like, I can't make someone good. Be like, oh, well, this guy, he's just in shape, but he's not as good.
And maybe I don't think he's going to. I do think if he's is he top 10 pick? No, I don't think. Is he a top 15 pick? Maybe not. But the Chargers at 17 is where I think the clock starts to tick with him. Like, maybe they take him. And if they don't, it's not the worst thing in the world. I don't think that's an absolute no-brainer pick because there's other good guys who can, play a little bit more snaps. But I wouldn't blame him for taking him at 17. That's for sure. I think Dallas is a place that I like for him a lot. That's getting kind of slept on. Like, they've got Randy Gregory and they've got DeMarcus Lawrence, but the middle of the defensive line is a little bit light for them. You throw Jordan Davis in there, and they've got depth where they wouldn't even need him to play a bunch of stuff. I think Dallas is a really nice spot for him.
I would agree. And that it's just any snap where you're looking at Lawrence and Parsons and Davis on the other side is just not.
Good God, man.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, imagine running away from Jordan Davis. Imagine running away from Jordan Davis. You finally get free, and then all of a sudden you have to deal with Micah Parsons.
Yeah, and maybe Jordan Davis is because they have Dan Quinn who runs a lot of single high, and they get an extra guy in the box a lot. So a space-eating defensive tackle isn't like super, super duper like a scheme fit for them like you would be for a team that does a lot of two high, and you want someone who can two gap, which Davis is maybe like the best at. But I still despite that, I still look at like Dallas. It's like, okay, well, he can still he can still do that. So I like Dallas a lot for him. But yeah, Jordan Davis, day 3, maybe the biggest winner of the whole combine because he just went stupid. I would go crazy. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. He did have a great day.
You know, Matt, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about cornerback number 1, Sauce Gardner.
This is why
that hasn't even happened yet.
I've been a little bit. He's running the 40 now.
Right now, as we speak?
No, not as we speak. He just ran it. He ran a 4.52, but a lot of teams had him clocked at mid 4.4. And a lot of these guys are running really slow in the cornerback group. The timing has been really weird. I mean, like Roger McCreary ran a 4.55, and I guess I'm not. I didn't
like his long speed either. By the way,
I thought he was quicker than that. I mean, these guys are.
He's quicker,
all of them,
but he's not faster. He's not faster.
Here's the thing. I don't think corners have to be super fast.
I think they should be pretty fast.
You should be fast. But you don't need to run a 4.3.
Yes.
You don't like.
No one needs to run a 4.3. No one needs to do that. No one needs to run the 4.3s. If you run the 4.4s or 4.5s, I think you're fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Like McDuffie was a 4.46. That's fine. Kyrie Lam 4.47. You work with those. So as far as day 3 goes, who else really impressed you guys? Like obviously Jordan Davis, or maybe let's talk about who was a loser in day 3.
Well, one winner I think was one guy I want to talk about was Sam Williams out of Ole Miss. Ran a I think the second fastest 40 time. And after the combine, I checked out his film, and the game I watched was against Charles Cross and Mississippi State. Great game for Sam Williams. He may have gotten the better of Charles Cross in that game. And it didn't surprise me to go back and look it up. And Charles Cross said Sam Williams was the toughest guy that he ever played against, because Sam Williams was a menace in that game. He was bull rushing. He can put his foot in the ground and cut inside quickly. He's obviously got a lot of power in his hands and converted speed to power well with a good get off. And with the athletic testing he just had, I was like, whoa, hold on for a second here. Because they were playing Mississippi State, I couldn't really see what he could do against the run. But as a pass rusher, Sam Williams is legit. And I looked it up, and he has had some pretty bad off the field problems. I think he was charged with like sexual battery at one point. So definitely not
ideal.
Yeah, not ideal at all. But as far as like on the field, I think Sam Williams is a guy who's like very much on my radar, like as a player, as a football player. Of course, the off the field things, you got to vet him pretty thoroughly.
But
and
there are a lot of NFL teams we know
every single year. You've got guys like this that go high in the draft. So I thought that he had a good day at the combine. And from the one game I've watched on film, okay, this is not me. One game against a very one-dimensional team, but he's got some serious juice as a pass rusher. I thought he was a winner. Aiden Hutchinson, I thought was a winner.
Hutchinson was, yeah.
His 3-cone was
really good.
Really
and that's
good.
what makes me that's what makes me think it's legit. You're doing the agility too, and you're doing well in that. Okay,
yeah,
that counts in my book.
It does count. It's weird because he just doesn't bend. Like, he doesn't look super bendy and flexible on film to me, but he's got this. So I don't know what to think.
I think it's like maybe you don't have to be super bendy if you're just so quick that it just doesn't matter.
Yes.
Like Myles Garrett has ridiculous bend and is also a ridiculous athlete, but I don't know if I would say he's as quick as he is just like fast and strong, and he has ridiculous bend.
I don't know. He's pretty quick. Remember that play? Remember that play where it looked like he teleported inside and it looked like a glitch in the film?
Also his first play in the NFL where he got that sack against the Jets, and he just like immediately spun past the defensive line.
Myles Garrett's like a perfect defensive lineman, so he's everything.
We should start comparing everyone to Myles Garrett. And if they can do what Myles Garrett can do, they're good.
But I think Aiden Hutchinson is a blue chip prospect worthy of a top 5 pick. I think Thibodeau is too, who had a really good day. I think both of them, again, I've compared them. I think Thibodeau has a slightly higher ceiling, but like, man, it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, Hutchinson,
if either one is better.
Hutchinson went 4.15 in the 20-yard shuttle.
Yeah, he had really good agility.
His quickness is off the charts.
His 3-cone was like well under 7. No.
Yeah,
it was 6.73.
Yeah, like, so it was really good. He was definitely a winner. Definitely makes me look at my evaluation of him and be like, am I missing something? So yeah, I'm confused. I wish he didn't do that. I like him, but I wish he didn't do that.
but I think that is your job at the combine.
Yeah.
Is in a positive way, make people be like, whoa, did I miss something in my evaluation? Or, you could do the opposite and be like, ooh, did I miss something in my evaluation?
Right.
But like that's one of the two things that could happen.
He was a winner. Oh, and Trayvon Walker. He probably had
all three Georgia defenders.
Yeah, Georgia's a weird place, man. Trayvon Walker, 6'6" with freakishly long arms, great vertical, great 40. I think his RAS was something like 9.99, so not quite perfect, but really, really good. He's someone I think I see him getting more and more like mocked in top 10 picks. Dane Brugler said he was the 6th ranked player on his board, and Lance Zierlein, I think it is, has him ridiculously high as well. I have a first round grade on him, but like off the edge, I just don't think he's the caliber of pass rusher to warrant some of the hype that he's getting. But you see the tools that he has. And he's already a really good run defender, and he's versatile and a jack of all trades. That he's definitely a lump of clay that is worth a first round pick because you can mold him into something really cool. But I think despite the great combine day, I think
Clowney was though.
Rashawn Gary is a guy who was like that, who was really raw in college and didn't have like elite production. And Trayvon Walker only had 13 career tackles for loss in 3 years at Georgia and 9.5 sacks. This is not an uber productive guy. And he did that on a line that didn't really get to focus attention on him. So he's not super productive. And I think he's kind of raw in his pass rushing plan and his counter moves. But the combine obviously showed the tools that are there to work with. But I think that when I see him like as someone's 6th ranked prospect, I'm like, man, that's really, really high. You're really high on him.
Yeah.
I still think he's worth a first round pick, but I'm not as high as some people are on Trayvon Walker. But anyway.
I just think that's the way. Yeah, I think that's the way people are leaning. More and more potential based.
Yeah, and Rashawn Gary has had a great career so far.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
At some point, Theo, have you watched the Virginia Tech guy, Barno? Because his combine was kind of ludicrous.
I have not watched him yet. No.
And he went 4.36 in the 40.
Fastest of all time at that position. Yes.
Yeah. His vertical, or not his vertical, his broad jump was 10.11.
Good. Yeah.
And I mean, what was the other thing he did? Was that it?
Probably the vertical. I don't know if he did it. I have not watched him, so I don't really have. But yeah, he was definitely a winner from
his
day
vertical
3.
Was 37. That's the other thing.
Yeah, losers from day 3. Devin Lloyd ran a 4.7, which is rough.
Yes.
And Nakobe Dean came in. He weighed a little bit more than people thought he would. He wasn't quite as undersized. Ran a good time. So I think like Nakobe Dean may have put himself as linebacker 1 here. And Devin Lloyd definitely dropped a little bit. So I thought he was a loser, but overall, I think that's day 3. BLAIDEN, sorry to cut you off a little bit, but I have not watched him, but he did have a really good combine, but I don't really have much to say about him.
Well, maybe he's good. Or maybe
he might be. I don't know.
He might just be an athlete. But yeah, Devin Lloyd didn't have a great day. At first I was like, 4.7, that's not too bad. But then I'm just like,
compared to the other guys, it was definitely a loser.
When you see guys running 4.4 and low 4.5s, you're like, okay, maybe you got to do a little bit more. I think that pretty much put a bow on day 3.
Yep.
I don't know if there's anyone else we really need to hit on. Day 4 is kind of going on as we're making this episode. Mm-hmm. We talked about the punter of the century a little bit.
He got out. Someone beat him. Different punter.
In the 40 time? No. Yeah. All right. He's not as generational.
No, yeah. There's a 4.61 and a 4.67.
horrific. The cornerbacks are the big. I don't really care about special teamers at the combine. I cannot lie.
Wow.
The cornerbacks.
They've got the punters out here running the 40 like this. I'm taking all of these scores with a grain of
Now,
salt.
how are we feeling about long snapper out of Pittsburgh going sub 5?
What is that? Okay.
That's
cool.
big for me. As a long snapper, he'll get to show off his blazing straight line speed.
That's what I'm saying.
The corners, Kyer Elam is a guy who ran a 4.47. Really good time for him at the size that he's at the weight that he's at. He is my cornerback 2. He is above Gardner for me. And the combine has confirmed my priors. So the combine is the ultimate. No, Matt, don't give me that look.
Well, did you see how long Gardner's arms were?
Gardner did have really long arms.
80-inch wingspan.
And if you like a 4.47, Gardner's second attempt was a 4.47.
Was it actually?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, big time. That's good for him.
Big time.
I would just like to say that maybe an 80-inch wingspan is kind of fraudulent because I have a 76-inch wingspan.
Do you?
Yeah.
Damn. Sauce Gardner is my CB3, so it would
Matt,
make
do you
sense
not believe that?
he.
It's not that I don't believe it. I don't. Are you implying since you're not a good NFL quarterback and you have long arms that?
Yes.
Long arms don't matter because if they did, Blaiden would be an elite cornerback.
I'd be in the league. I'd be in the like.
Okay, a 4.47 is a really good time.
It's about what Gardner needed. He wasn't going to go out there and run a 4.2 or whatever. So
yeah, his long speed is not super great. He will skip agility drills, which is too bad because I would have liked to have seen them with him. But if he's smart, the reason I would like to see him is because I suspect they would not be that great, which is why he should not run them, and he probably won't. But at his weight, you would like to be pretty fast, and in the 4.5s is fine. It's not some sort of death knell or anything, but his first run you would have liked to see to be a little bit faster. So if 4.47 holds up and is official, definitely would be a nice time for him, and proves anyone who runs a 4.4 can hang with 90% of NFL wide receivers down the field. So that's good. Roger McCreary, I don't know what he ran in his second time.
I saw 4.55 as his first time, which stinks because I really like him.
I like him too. And 4.55 is not some sort of death. Like, it's not this horrible time. But he was someone I did have questions about his long speed, and can he just keep up with the DK Metcalfs of the world going down the field, and his arms are a little bit short. But he's someone that I think if he did run the agility times would do a really good job. So, and I think that even matters more for a corner, like how fast can you get in and out of breaks and how fast can you mirror the wide receivers. So if they run their agility times, I would expect Roger McCreary to run a pretty good one and get his stock back up a little bit right now. But right now you definitely would like to see faster than a 4.55, especially for kind of an undersized corner, but I think he's good. Kobe Bryant also ran kind of a slow.
Yeah.
He went 4.55.
Yes.
Trent McDuffie went 4.46, who's another guy I think we all like a decent amount.
Yep. Knew he would be fast. He would also probably put up ridiculous. He's going to jump He's going to jump out of the building. Same with Kyler Gordon out of Washington. Both the Washington corners are going to have a ridiculously good day today.
There, no?
I have not heard anything about Booth being.
Booth,
that's
I don't
a shame
think is there.
He would.
I wanted to see him. I wanted to see him too. But.
Trent McDuffie's second 40 was a 4.53, which is a little bit slower than you'd like to see him. Oh my God. Kyler Gordon ran a 4.6 and his second 40.
He was supposed to be a good.
And he was supposed to be ridiculously fast.
In his first.
Wow, things that aged poorly was me just saying Kyler Gordon is going to run a really good time.
I said it in one of the mock draft videos I made. That this guy's a great athlete.
He is. I mean, that is a shockingly low time for Kyler Gordon, for someone who was supposed to blow up the combine. And the numbers that Washington was reporting was like he was going to jump out of the building and run this crazy time. And so Yeah, bad day for Kyler Gordon, bad day for Roger McCreary, I would say, with the long speed and the short arms. Just you have to be a pretty special mover to hit with those times. So the quarterback class looked really good on tape, but the combine is definitely underwhelming so far today. But again, the combine
I still think guys like, Elam, I still think Elam's going to be really good.
Elam's having a good day.
Yeah, Elam, 4.47, really good. I think a really good time for him. And I like you have him at corner 2 because I'm really I almost put him at corner 1. But I mean, Stingley's hard to beat. It's just like, again.
Wait, Blaiden,
Matt,
what are your cornerback rankings?
I haven't decided yet.
No.
Even if you haven't watched them, you must decide.
Gardner will be top 3. For sure.
That's that's not the consolation prize I'm looking for.
Roger McCreary also had the second shortest arms of any cornerback at the combine since 2000. That's what I'm seeing here.
Oh, that's so brutal.
That sucks, dude, because I really like the way
you don't need long arms to be a good
short
corner,
space, but it's just
having short arms hurts.
Short arms and bad 40 time is not an awesome combo.
You know what else is a really great combination of versatility and just overall being the best at what it does? Stay Hot's newest sponsor, HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Because with HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. HelloFresh lets you skip those trips to the grocery store and makes home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why I said, it's America's #1 meal kit for a reason. HelloFresh cuts out all the stressful meal planning and grocery store trips. You can just enjoy cooking and get to eating in 30 minutes or less. Also, HelloFresh is 30% cheaper than shopping at your local grocery store. Plus, you get to skip all those checkout lines. You can try their quick and easy meals like 15 to 20-minute dinners, breakfast on the go, and 10-minute lunches in the HelloFresh market. Perfect for you if you have a crazy class schedule, an internship, or a new job. You can enjoy restaurant-quality meals for less in the comfort of your own home. HelloFresh's gourmet recipes like balsamic fig sirloin are over 72% cheaper than an average restaurant meal. You can head on over to HelloFresh.com/StayHot16. Use the code StayHot16. That is the number 16 and get up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. Again, that's HelloFresh.com/StayHot16. Use the code StayHot16. Again, that is the number 16. And enjoy HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. NFL season's over, so that's why we're talking about the combine and all the draft stuff going on. But there's no offseason at Underdog Fantasy. And right now, you can draft a 2022 best ball fantasy team in their big board tournament with $250,000 in cash prizes and $50,000 to first place. Which incoming rookies will you draft to make a splash on your 2022 fantasy team? You can draft your dream fantasy roster in the big board now, and that's it. No waivers, no trades, no setting your lineup. Underdog will give you the optimal score each week. And get this, right now, when you sign up with the code STAYHOT, Underdog is going to match your initial deposit with up to $100 in bonus cash. So what are you waiting for? Go check out UnderdogFantasy.com or their mobile app, sign up with the code STAYHOT, and may the best drafter win.
Before we wrap up, can I complain about one thing?
No.
Okay. Well, that just about does it for this week.
Go for it, Theo.
In draft dialogue, I think people think every single trait can be developed at the NFL level. There is not one thing I have criticized on a prospect this year that hasn't gotten a bunch of comments like, oh, they can just teach that at the next level, whether that be frame, whether that be bend, whether that be technique, whether that be anything but maybe 40 time. Everyone is like, oh, well, they'll just fix that at the next level. I don't think guys change as much as people think they do in the NFL. It happens sometimes, but largely strengths and weaknesses stay the same.
And guys just overcome those weaknesses.
They overcome those weaknesses by being good enough at the strengths instead of turning the weaknesses into a strength. So one thing, as you read scouting reports and as you make your own opinions on prospects is hopefully what you're doing. But or, not everybody has that kind of time. So reading scouting reports or whatever, when people list weaknesses, they probably won't be strengths in the NFL. That is just what I want to say, because I just made my Jermaine Johnson video, and I think he really is not flexible, and I think he lacks bend. And still I've gotten comments like, oh, they'll just fix that in the NFL. It's like, maybe. I don't know if you would bank on that, though. But
a lot of college facilities at this point are really good, to the point where if you're not, developing into that kind of an athlete in college, you're probably not going to do it ever.
Yeah. Anyway, my main point is weaknesses are weaknesses, and just count on them being weaknesses instead of being like, oh, they're just going to be taught up and perfect in the NFL. Like, weaknesses are weaknesses. Not everything is like totally like easily fixable. Anyway, that's just my last little thing.
All right. Good job, Theo.
Thanks.
All right. I think that pretty much wraps things up for us. It's been a great episode as always, being with you two. Couldn't ask for better co-hosts. But as always, tons of content. Tons of content coming away on all platforms. We will be back Friday. What's today? Sunday? So episode comes out Monday. Yeah, Friday. We will be back Friday. We'll talk about some things, some stuff. Probably some football, probably some basketball. Don't miss out on all the great content coming away on all platforms. And as always, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, and Lemon Boy, we will catch you all on the flippity flop.